Hello everybody, welcome to Mind-Unwind number 4. We are going to be using the Zentangle method to make a fun little design. It's great for anybody of any level. The pattern that we're using is called POC or Potch. I don't know how that person pronounces it. And if you'd like to post your things to Instagram, these are some hashtags that you can use. Potch, Zentangle, Mind-Unwind 4, and Tangling with Kasey. I'll show you those again at the end. To get started, excuse me. To get started, you will need, I'm using a Zentangle tile. However, you can use any paper you have. Mine is about 3.5 by 3.5 square. You can use a circle, you can use whatever. We are first going to use a pencil, and then I'm going to use this black marker. So that's what I'm doing. I recommend a felt tip pen or marker that's sort of fine tipped for this part of things. First, we're going to draw just a small circle. Just a very light circle. Sort of just like that. You can't really see mine, and that's the point. You want to leave enough space on the outside so that we can add some elements here. Within this circle, we're going to make a little border of scallops, but the way I like to make them to where they're sort of the same size, so I'm going to grab my little felt tip and get started here. I'm going to make one on the bottom, one on the top, and then right and left. So this is going to help me kind of know where to place everything. And so in here, I think, let's see, should I put, let's go, I'll put one right in the middle. So right in the middle everywhere. And then I will connect them like this. So that's going to help us have a sort of even amount and type of these little shapes. And you can certainly turn your paper if that helps you. It helps me. So now we have, it's like a little circle of scallops. So get yours done. The next step on the scallops, we're going to go from point to center and point to center. So you're going to do that on each of those little scallops. And I don't want you to worry too much about this pencil line. If it is bugging you later, we can just get rid of it. All right, so once again, we're going to go from the point to the middle, point to the middle, point to the middle, point to the middle. It's kind of like a little leafy shape, isn't it? So point to the middle, point to the middle. And it doesn't really matter if your shapes are different sizes. Point to the middle, point to the middle, point to the middle, and point to the middle. Point to the middle and point to the middle. My dog is making a lot of noise for us today. All right. Point to the middle and point to the middle. So we're going to do that all the way around. We'll go from the point to the center and the point to the center. All the way around our circle. Finding that last point and going right to the middle. All righty, that's our first step. Now, each place you have that center, you're going to make a little stalk. And it's gonna go higher than these outsides, but we're gonna sort of try and make them all the same length. The easiest way for me to keep them the same length, I think, is to continue turning my paper and always making that line in the same motion. So it's radiating outward, always going upward. And then I have one more. So I've got my lines sticking out. It sort of looks like a lot of little simple flowers all stuck together. Next, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to look at it from a different perspective. We're going to look at it from the inside perspective. So like here, we're going to make a line. So each place we have that those little points meet, we will add a line. And these are going to be about the same length. If they're not perfectly the same length, no problem. Just try to flow, go with it. We'll see how it turns out. Just enjoy making each of those little lines. So now we've got this looking at us. Our next step is going to be connecting each of these lines. So I'll start on the outside. I don't know why I just turned to the paper, but I did. And we're gonna jump line to line. So we're just gonna jump line to line each time. So we're just gonna jump line to line each time. And we can turn our paper if that feels nice. I find that my shapes tend to be more the same if I turn my paper. So I'm going to continue around, making these little arches that connect my sticky uppy lines that I made before. And then I'll complete it, and I'm done with that step. The next step, you may be able to guess the next step, but if you haven't, we're going to connect these lines that we made on the inside. And I'm trying to scallop them. They get a little bit skinny in here in the center, but I'm trying to make them scalloped. And it gives us this interesting dimensional look where it almost looks like a lot of paper is folded up and woven together somehow. So we're just gonna hop over to the next one, and the next, and the next, and the next, and close it up. My circle at the beginning was not perfect. A lot of the different pieces that I've done are not the same size, but it's all sort of coming together. The next step, you can leave it like this. You can always stop if you like something the way it is. But the next step for me, I'm gonna slap a nice little scallop on these outer edges here. And I'm leaving some space, but you could always close that in if you prefer. But I'm gonna scallop my way around this and enjoy each of these little curvy lines. Scallop, scallop, scallop. All right. starting to look like a really lovely wreath. All right, so I got my scallops done around the outside, and then I'm going to add some scallops on the inside, kind of in the same place, but I'm going to add them here. And I'm still leaving that little gap right in the center. So up and over. And I'm going to just continue going up and over, turning my little paper as I go, because that is the way I like to do things. Turning the little paper as I go, adding these lovely little scallops. All right, so now I have added all my scallops. This is as far as our friend Judy takes us with this pattern, but we always have the ability to do more. And if you know me, you know that I like to do more. So I'm going to do a little more on this one, and I think I'm going to have some swirly things coming out of it here and there. So there's one. We can do this on all of them. We can just do it on a few, whatever you would like. But on this one, I'm going to put some little leaves. And this is a pattern that we've done before in some of the Zentangles. It's sort of like a half of a heart. And I'm going to just let it crawl up this shape that I have here. And it can end like that. So we could add more of those. We could have another one coming off of another side. We can also do things inside this center or to any of these different little sections. I think what I'm going to do on these sections is I'm going to put lines, but only on every other. So I'm going to skip that one. And I'm going to go every other one. I'm going to put a lot of little lines on it. And what I'm hoping that's going to do is help us lose that original shape and those original lines even more as we build dimension in our final shape. You can do this by using line, shape, color. I like to show you the simpler ways to do things because I know not everyone has the ability to get their hands on a lot of colorful markers or a pencil and a shading, blending stick. So for now, we will add character by using the same materials we used to draw the shape. And I'm skipping, I'm going every other and adding this lovely stripey pattern. Simple stripes. Now that I've done all these and I've added all the stripes, I feel like I need to go back and make these stripes a little closer together. So you can see how that's made a difference already, right? On the ones in between, I'm going to do a little trick. I'm just going to add arcs. Kind of cool. All right, so same here. I'm just going to add some arcs, and you can go back and forth or in one direction, whatever's easier for you. Sometimes I enjoy going back and forth like that. I'm going to keep turning my paper and adding those arcs to these shapes in between. And the more we do this, the more pattern we add, the more it starts looking really 3D, really fun. Even though some of these are bigger than others, and that didn't go exactly to plan, I think it's important with this kind of art to not worry about erasing, to not worry about messing up. Simply let your brain think about what's the next thing it's going to do. What are we having fun with next? Let's see. Lines. Let's add some little curvy lines here. You can add as many as you want. So now that we have that step complete, we can decide, all right, well, what do I want to do now? Maybe I want to do something with these little flower looking pieces. Maybe I want to do something here. I think what I'm going to do is, how about if I color in all of the ones on this side? So I'm alternating. Only coloring in the one on the right side of each pair. Sometimes my brain gets a little confused and I have to stop and take a good look at the big picture and remember exactly what I was doing. And I keep thinking, did I do that correctly? Was that right? No, see, I skipped one there. So now I'm off. So what I'm going to do is just color all of them in, because that's a good way to cover up when you accidentally skip a piece of your pattern. So I'm just going to color all of them. And what's great about this is nobody knew my plan. Nobody knew what I was going to do. So nobody knows what didn't go according to plan. Sometimes that can happen to me if I'm planning an event or a party and something is just not working out and I'm trying to fix it. But then I have to tell myself, the people who are showing up for this party have absolutely no idea what my big giant idea was. So if it's becoming something complicated that is stressing me out, maybe we aren't doing that. It'll be okay. People will still have fun. We have plenty of other things for people to occupy their time with. So sometimes you have to let yourself proceed in the way that serves you the best. And art is like that frequently. We can still see my pencil line, but we're kind of doing a lot of coloring that's making it look very, very insignificant. And I am super cool with that. Maybe we won't see it at the end and I won't even have to come back and erase anything. All right, so now we're kind of making this interesting look. And if you want to, you can always go back in and you can make these little junctions darker. That can give it a little more dimensional, structure-y look. Whatever you like. You certainly don't have to. But but I love being able to spin the paper like this, and then I don't have to move my drawing hand that's doing all of the coordination work. I just use my other hand to spin that paper around. And sometimes people have a hand that isn't working as well as it used to, perhaps. I like to get something sticky and put it under there. That way, the pen doesn't move the paper around. All right, what should we do next? I'm going to go in, I think from the point of each of these, I'm going to add a little triangle like this. So you can add pattern to these anywhere you want. What I like to do is make up a little guideline like this. Hey, I'm going to make this shape and all of these shapes. And then once I get finished doing that, I can decide what I'm going to do next. How am I going to use line or coloring in or shading, if you enjoy shading, to make this look interesting. And this does sort of take away some of how it looked like we had woven paper, doesn't it? So if you like that woven paper look, maybe don't do this. But what I think I want to do now, so each of these has created this little fan shape. And I think I'm going to aura this curve. And to make an aura just means to echo or follow that curve around. So I'm going to make a little aura on each of these. And I hope you're noticing that each of these strokes that we're doing, each of these strokes of the pen is a pretty simple stroke of the pen. But by slowly putting all of these interesting strokes of the pen together, we're getting this really neat design. And that design sort of emerges to you as you go through this. So it's looking really cool now. And we have to figure out where we're going to do something to, what's the word I'm looking for? Where we're going to do something to kind of enhance next. So we have these little diamondy pieces here. But I think what I'm going to do is the thing that I like to often do, I'm going to put scallops within scallops. So inside each of these little arches we just did, I'm going to put like 3 little scallops. One, 2, 3. We can decide later, do I want to color these in? Do I want to do something else? But for now, I am just making this little fun shape inside of it. This wasn't in my plan. The only plan was that first pattern. So now I'm just making things up as I go. This might have been a nice place to put kind of like a little heart. But I didn't do that, so that is just not what's happening. So now I've got all those. Tell you what, let's pick, see how this makes this little triangle shape here? Let's pick one side and we'll dot it in. And I'll skip one and I'll dot in the next one. And I'll skip one and dot in the next one. Skipping and dots in the next one. If you're working with a type of pen that is not very easy to make dots with, maybe you can use a different pattern. I know we're not always all working with the same materials, but I'm going to put enough dots simply to differentiate it from that one that's right there. And what my creative mind is thinking is, this is dark, this is white, this is white, so let's differentiate those somehow. If I color this in, then we miss that shape, which might be okay, but is at this time not my plan. So I skipped that one, did this one, skipped that one, doing this one, skipping, 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 adding dots, skipping this one, dots here, skipping that one, adding dots here, skipping, adding dots here, skipping, and adding dots here. I'm very excited. I stayed in the pattern that I set out to add, so I have successfully stayed where I planned to stay. And now we have all of these other little shapes that we can choose to do something with if we want. I want you to go ahead and just be on your own. Do what you want to do. If you're thinking of something interesting, add it. I'm going to add an aura all around this inside part. And I'm just going to come down between each of those scallops to a point. I'm not going to worry about my aura going along the flat part of those little inner pieces. I'm going around and around, and I'm just going to meet it here. And then if I wanted to, I could color that in. I could dot. Let's do dots. I think I'm going to do dots at all of the pointy parts of this little aura. I like that. I love making dots. I don't know what it is, but it is fun. I like it. And I'm going to make the dots all sort of look the same. So I'm going to touch the point of that and then also the top of this little curve. I'm going to keep rotating, adding my little dots where they go. And even though a lot of these are different sizes, I'm just doing the same thing all the way around to make it make sense. So now we have that pattern. We could do something up here if we want. We could color this in. We can do something to all of these. So go ahead and make those choices for yourself. I'm going to keep working on mine, and you can do as you please. So I'm going to put myself into time-lapse mode so you can watch me work if you'd like to, but just go out on your own. Use different shapes, different dashes, dots, squiggles, patterns to do whatever you want to this. So this is where I am going to stop for now. I have a lot of options. I could still come back in and add color and pattern to this, but I think for now, I'm going to come in and just add my little signature piece. And in Zentangle culture, this is called your chop. So mine is a circle with a capital K in it and a little heart. You can make up your own chop and put it in all of your designs. So I do that instead of signing them, just for fun. I hope so much that you've enjoyed this. And if you don't have time to finish it all today, that's fine. I am gonna give you the hashtags and stuff again. So this is the POC pattern by Judy Akawa, and then we added a lot of other stuff to it, but that main circle there is the POC. So you can, if you're an Instagram person, you can hashtag these. And I hope to see you back for the next Mind Unwind. If this is your first, you can go back and check out the other 3. Thanks for joining, and have a wonderful day or evening. Bye, everybody.